This spray was Grandpa's secret weapon, and today I'm sharing 45 incredible hacks with it that you've probably never heard of. One of them saved me almost 500 euros. Want to know how? Stick around, this could change your daily life forever. If you want to discover what your WD-40 can really do and how it can solve problems you didn't even know you had, subscribe to our channel now. That way, you won't miss any of these genius everyday hacks. And now, have fun with the most mind-blowing WD-40 hacks that would have even amazed Grandpa. Clean burnt stove plates. Grandpa stood in his small kitchen, the radio playing. The roast had overflowed, and the stove plate looked like a volcano post-eruption. But instead of cursing, he calmly reached for the WD-40 can. One spray, 5 minutes of patience, an old rag, and the metal shone like new. No scrubbing, no swearing, just that satisfying spray sound. Once you've tried it, you'll never clean any other way. Remove limescale from kettles. Grandpa wasn't a fan of limescale, especially not in his kettle. When the water took longer to boil than his old rice pudding, he grabbed the WD-40 can. A quick spray, 5 minutes of waiting, then a wipe with a rag, and the limescale vanished as if by magic. Just that familiar, problem-solved scent. Once you've seen it, you'll understand why Grandpa never argued. He acted quietly, pragmatically, effectively, like a true everyday hero. Make shoes waterproof. Rain poured, the path was muddy, but Grandpa's shoes stayed dry. No surprise, the night before, he'd sprayed them with WD-40, thin even, with a steady hand. He knew about water repellency long before it was printed on cans. After a few minutes, he polished them quietly, as he always did. The next day, water rolled off like magic. Grandpa just chuckled and said, "Technology doesn't need to be new, just good. Fix a jammed seatbelt." The seatbelt was stuck like a stubborn mule. Grandpa didn't curse. He pulled the belt out fully, grabbed the WD-40 can, and sprayed carefully into the slot where the belt disappeared. Then he pulled, released, pulled again. Suddenly, the belt snapped back like in its prime. It took one calm move and the wisdom of a man who knew technology sometimes just needs a little care. Keep birds off your car. Grandpa never parked under trees, but when he had to, he had his secret weapon ready, a spray of WD-40 on the roof and mirrors, carefully spread with an old cloth. The birds slid off like they were on ice, finding another target. No droppings, no hassle, no damaged paint. Just a quiet grin when the neighbor was scrubbing. That's how Grandpa kept his car clean, not with signs, but with simple, smart consistency. Remove bug residues from car grills. After every summer drive, Grandpa's grill looked like a battlefield. Flies, gnats, all stuck on, but he stayed calm. WD-40, a spray on the bumper, a short wait, then a soft cloth. The bugs slid off like leaves in the wind. The paint shone again, clean, clear. Grandpa didn't say much, he just nodded and moved on to the next problem, as if he'd already solved it yesterday. Prevent rust on bicycle chains. Grandpa rode his bike in sun, wind, and rain, and the chain ran smoothly, quietly, like it was freshly oiled. His hack was simple. After every ride, a cloth, a spray of WD-40, a few pedal turns. That was care with feeling. The chain gleamed, the bike purred, so he rode on, day after day, and the bike thanked him with every pedal, year after year. Stop fans or heaters from squeaking. When the fan started squeaking in summer, it sounded like it was protesting. Grandpa didn't tolerate it for long. He unplugged it, unscrewed the grill, sprayed a touch of WD-40 on the axle. Then he turned the blade slowly, almost lovingly. When he turned it back on, all you heard was the breeze, gentle, steady. For Grandpa, this wasn't a hack. It was silence, earned through effort. Keep sand away. At the beach, sand between the toes didn't bother Grandpa, but on his folding chair, he wouldn't have it. Before the trip, he wiped the legs, sprayed WD-40 on the frame, and spread it carefully with an old cloth. No grain stuck afterward. The chair folded easily. Nothing crunched. It was his quiet hack against summer. And the sand stayed where it belonged. Outside, not in the car. Remove gum from hair. The gum was stuck right in the braid. Panic in the child's eyes, calm in Grandpa's. He grabbed the small WD-40 can, sprayed gently on the tangled mess, and let it sit. Then he tugged carefully, strand by strand, until the sticky disaster was gone. One sentence you'll never forget: there's a tool for every problem. You just need to know when to use it. Keep snails off plant pots. When it rained in the evening and snails crept out, Grandpa was ready. He walked quietly through the garden, checked the pots, and pulled WD-40 from his jacket, a targeted ring around the rim carefully spread with a cloth. The next morning, no slime, no chew marks, just healthy leaves in the morning light. Grandpa said nothing. He looked at his plants, satisfied, and muttered, "Protect and you'll harvest. Period." Fix stuck zippers. The zipper jammed. The jacket was old, the leather soft, winter at the door. Grandpa turned it in his hands as if it could speak. Then he grabbed the small can, sprayed a touch on the teeth and slider. A brief pause, a pull, and the zipper ran smoothly. Grandpa smiled, wiped the excess with his sleeve. For him, this was craftsmanship, not a hack. Just well done. Remove crayon from toys. The toy lay there, covered in colorful swirls and scribbles. Grandpa studied it quietly, then grabbed the WD-40. A spray on an old cloth, gentle circles over the plastic. The colors faded, the original surfaced, and Grandpa said, "That's easy enough." Play resumed as if nothing happened, and the toy shone a little brighter than before, almost like new. Keep squirrels away from birdhouses. The birdhouse was Grandpa's pride, but in the mornings, a fat, happy squirrel often sat there. The tits stayed away. So came the moment for WD-40, a spray on the pole, neatly spread, wiped dry. The next day, the little thief slid off like on soap. Grandpa smirked. The birds returned, and balance was restored to the garden. No bars, no fights, just brains. Remove burnt food. After Sunday's roast, Grandpa's baking tray often looked like a battlefield. Grease crusts burnt beyond recognition, but he stayed calm. Grabbed WD-40 from the drawer, sprayed sparingly on the worst spots. Let it sit, wiped it off, rinsed it clean. The tray shone again, ready for the next round. Grandpa said quietly, almost casually, "If you eat well, you should clean well too," and grinned. Lubricate garage doors. The garage door sounded like a rusty accordion player. Everyone knew when Grandpa came home, but one Saturday morning he pulled the WD-40 can from the shelf. A spray in every hinge, a drop on every roller. Then he made the door dance, quiet, smooth, almost elegant. From then on, the garage opened effortlessly, and the squeaking was never heard again, just the soothing click of satisfaction. Smooth out curtain rods. When Grandpa opened the curtains in the morning, it should sound like the day was beginning. Quiet, easy, natural. He took the rod down, wiped it clean, grabbed the WD-40 can, and spread the spray with a steady hand. The rings glided afterward, effortlessly, silently, elegantly. For Grandpa, this wasn't effort. It was attention. And those who paid it lived better, day after day. Remove sticky residues from storage containers. The storage container stuck like a forgotten summer. Grandpa held it to the light, saw the syrup film on the edge, shook his head, and grabbed the WD-40 can. A spray, a short wait, then a firm wipe with a cloth. The lid turned freely again. The base shone. The container was ready for new contents, for flour, screws, or loose buttons. Grandpa didn't call it cleaning. He called it preserving, and he did it with devotion. Prevent moisture in headlights. On foggy days, Grandpa didn't just wipe the windows, he cared for the lights. Headlights were sacred to him. He sprayed WD-40 around the housing, finally, with a steady hand. Once around, then wiped with a cloth. Water had no chance. The lens stayed clear, the light strong. So he drove through rain and dusk, always visible. For him, this was safety, care, and a piece of responsibility on 4 wheels. Remove lipstick stains from glass. After the party, the glass stood there, delicately curved, with a hint of red on the rim. Grandpa didn't reach for a sponge, but for WD-40. A spray, a minute's wait, then a wipe with a linen cloth. The color vanished, the glass sparkled again. He checked it in the light, turned it in his hand, satisfied. For him, cleanliness wasn't chance. It was attitude, even with the last glass on the table. Dust off artificial plants. The plastic palm in the hallway was Grandpa's pride, a relic from the 70s, evergreen, but dusty. He took a cloth, sprayed WD-40 on it, and wiped each leaf carefully. The dust vanished, the surface shone like freshly watered. Grandpa stepped back, hands on hips, and nodded. It wasn't just a plant. It was memory, cared for with respect and a dose of oil. Keep ants away from pet bowls. The pet bowl stood outside, right by the door. The cat lounged in the shade, ants marched in columns. Grandpa saw it, grabbed his WD-40 can, and sprayed a narrow ring around the bowl's base. Quietly, deliberately, carefully, he let it dry, placed the bowl back. The ants stayed away. The cat slept on. Grandpa sat nearby, leaned back, and said softly, "You don't fight if you prevent." Remove hair dye from surfaces. After dyeing, the sink was speckled like an artist's palette. Dark stains, glossy and stubborn. Grandpa saw it, said nothing, sprayed WD-40 on a cloth, and wiped over the color like a restorer over an old painting. The shine faded, the white returned. He turned off the faucet, admired his work, and said quietly, "Order starts not with tidying, but with looking." Lubricant scissors. The old scissors lay on the workbench, heavy and silent. They once cut through fabric like air. Now they jammed with every pull. Grandpa grabbed the WD-40 can, aimed at the joint, moved the blades with care. A snap, then smooth gliding. He wiped the handles, tested the cut, and put them back. Tools, he said, are like people. They just need care at the right time. Keep mud off boots. Before every hike, Grandpa set his boots on the bench in the yard. He took the WD-40, sprayed over leather and soles, spread it with a cloth, carefully into the crevices. Later, when mud splashed, it just rolled off. The boots stayed light, cleaning afterward a breeze. Grandpa just nodded. For him, preparation didn't start with the backpack, but with a quiet moment at the workbench. Soften hardened baseball gloves. The glove lay on the shelf, stiff from waiting. Grandpa took it, turned it in his hands like an old book. Then he grabbed the WD-40 can, sprayed lightly over the leather, and massaged it in with patient movements. A ball inside, a strap around it, left overnight. In the morning, it lay supple in the hand. Not like new, but better. Broken in, ready. And full of stories yet to be finished. Free shower heads from limescale and clogs. The water sprayed in all directions, just not straight. The shower head was calcified, tired from daily use. Grandpa didn't unscrew it. He sprayed WD-40 on the nozzles, let it sit, then used a toothbrush. With calm circles, he brought life back. Then rinsed, checked the flow. Strong, even, like a small waterfall. Grandpa stepped back, dried his hands, and said quietly, "Care for it, and you'll shower better." Always. Stop birds from nesting in vents. In spring, birds sought niches, hideaways, small openings. Grandpa's vent grill was a favorite, but Grandpa liked air, not nests. He took his WD-40, sprayed lightly around the edges, not into the grill itself. A slick ring, nearly invisible but effective. The birds found new spots. Grandpa leaned back, listened to the breeze in the pipe, and thought. Protect, don't chase. Sometimes a smart move is enough. Keep spiders off furniture. Grandpa liked spiders in the garden, but not under the sofa. When fall came, he grabbed the WD-40 from the pantry. He moved the furniture, sprayed quietly along the legs, once around the corners, then stepped back. No nests, no webs, no roommates, just peace. For him, this wasn't hunting, but prevention. A quiet circle of oil that said, someone already lives here, and they don't sweep cobwebs. Remove coffee and tea stains from mugs. The favorite mug stood on the windowsill, dulled by tea, framed by years. Grandpa took it in hand, studied the rim as if reading stories. Then he sprayed WD-40 inside, let it sit, wiped with a cloth. The shine returned. The mug looked like it used to. For him, this wasn't a hack, but care. Because if you love things, you keep their dignity, even after 100 brews. Polish motorcycle helmets. The helmet stood on the workbench, dulled by summer. Dust, bugs, road miles. Grandpa took a cloth, sprayed WD-40 on it, polished in small circles, lost in thought. The shine returned, slowly, like memory. Not showroom gloss, but one with history. The helmet reflected light again, not just scenery. Grandpa checked the result, smiled, and set it down. Ready for the next ride. Ready for anything. Keep wasps away from sheds. When spring arrived, Grandpa walked through the garden with his WD-40 can. He knew the corners, beams, and angles where wasps like to start their homes. A spray here, a thin film there. The shed stayed undisturbed. the tools ready. No buzzing, no nests in the shadows, just peace as he liked it. And when someone asked how he did it, Grandpa just said, "Look ahead and you'll have less to do later." Maintain and lubricate garden tools. After digging came the care. Grandpa sat on the wooden bench, laid out shears, spade, and rake side by side. He took the WD-40, sprayed every joint, every edge, then wiped with a cloth as if polishing silver. The tools shone, moved like new. For him, this wasn't tidying, it was respect. For the material, the work, the next day in the bed. So everything stayed ready, always. Soften hardened paint brushes. The brush was stiff as twine, dried paint, rigid with age. Grandpa held it to the light, sprayed WD-40 on the bristles, let it rest like an old friend. Then the tips bent again, slowly, as if remembering. A wash, a squeeze, a drying cloth. The brush lay supple in the hand again. For Grandpa, this wasn't a hack. It was appreciation, against forgetting, even in the toolbox. Prevent rust on metal fences. The garden fence was old but proud, wrought iron with flair and history. Grandpa walked it once a year, can in one hand, cloth in the other. WD-40 on every screw, every edge, every ornament. A film of care, invisible and effective. When rain came, it rolled off like memory. The fence endured, decades long, because to preserve something, you don't need much, just the right thing. Remove sap and resin from garden furniture. In summer, the garden table stood under the pine. The light was lovely, the sap was not. Grandpa saw the glossy spot, sighed softly, and grabbed the WD-40 can. A spray, a moment's patience, then wiped with a cloth, as if it were fine furniture from the living room. The surface smoothed out, the shine returned. For him, this was care, not duty, a move that saved the afternoon. Keep moles out of the garden. Grandpa liked order in his beds, no mounds, no tunnels. When moles came, he got quiet. Then he soaked an old cloth with WD-40, stuffed it into the tunnel, covered it with soil. The smell lingered, the visitors didn't. He didn't say much about it, just, if you plant something, protect it. And he did, with cunning, not noise, with respect, not poison. So the vegetables stayed undisturbed. Protect garden furniture from weather. When summer ended, Grandpa didn't go inside until the garden was ready. The chairs stood in a row, the table freshly wiped. He sprayed WD-40 on a cloth, ran it over frames, screws, edges, with the same calm as making a sandwich. No rust, no creaking next spring. Just furniture, waiting. Quiet, protected, ready for sun and conversation. Grandpa didn't call it preserving, he called it care in a can. Clean remote controls, light switches, or device housings. The remote was yellowed by life. Grease, fingers, years. Grandpa sat by the window, sprayed WD-40 on a cloth, ran it over buttons, edges, back. No pressure, just circles, like waxing floors in the old days. The surface became smooth again, almost ceremonial. He put it back, like returning a tool. Ready for the next show. For Grandpa, this was cleaning, yes, but also reclaiming, function, dignity, and a bit of everyday magic. Keep frogs off fences. After warm nights, they sat there like little sentries. Frogs on the garden fence. Grandpa chuckled, but eventually it was too much. He took a cloth, sprayed WD-40 on it, ran it along the edges, quiet, determined, with a craftsman's care. The next morning, the fence was empty, the surface dry, balance restored. For Grandpa, this wasn't chasing. It was making space for silence, for order, for a bit of peace. Keep weeds out of pavement cracks. Between the paving stones, it grew secretly. Quiet but tough, Grandpa knelt, swept the cracks clean, sprayed WD-40 precisely into the gaps, with a steady hand, like a carpenter setting the final strip. The surface glistened briefly, then the oil sank in. Weeks later, it stayed clean. For Grandpa, this wasn't gardening duty. It was care at eye level, against the wild, for the orderly, without noise. Protect power strips or adapters from dust and surface rust. The power strip in Grandpa's shed was older than some tools. Dust, cold, cobwebs. Yet it worked, because before winter, Grandpa took a cloth, sprayed WD-40, and ran it over the housing, screws, contacts, with care, not haste. Then let it rest, dry, protected. No flickering, no failure, even after months. For him, this was maintenance, a quiet pact with technology, and respect for what serves us daily. Separate stuck glasses. Two glasses wedged together like old friends who won't let go. Grandpa saw it, shook his head, and grabbed the WD-40 can. A spray into the narrow gap, gentle twisting, patient pulling. Then they parted with a soft clink, as if thanking him. For Grandpa, this wasn't a fight against the material. It was respect for what holds and knowing how to release it. Lubricate window shutters or roller blinds. When the wind came and the old shutters creaked like tired joints, Grandpa was ready. A spray of WD-40 on the hinges, a quick swing of the hand, then everything closed smoothly. No jerking, no creaking, just fluid motion. For him, this wasn't repair, it was care, a quiet ritual, so the house could breathe quietly, reliably, just like he did. De-ice door locks. In winter, the front door lock froze as it did every year. The key stuck, barely moved. Grandpa didn't turn away. He grabbed the small can, WD-40, a quick spray into the cylinder, then a moment's patience. The key turned, the lock gave way, a soft click, almost like agreement. For Grandpa, this was never chance. It was foresight and a move that preserved what might otherwise stay hidden. Day after day, winter after winter. And if you think Grandpa had even more hacks up his sleeve, you're right. This was just part of his toolbox. If you love these hands-on tricks, leave a subscription, give the video a thumbs up, and tell us in the comments which WD-40 hack you've tried yourself. Stay curious, stay practical, and never forget, a small can do big things.